Hello, IO Live. Todd Kerpelman here, and I am here with Jonathan Huey, who is a principal software engineer over at Nest. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi.
So what is this that we've got behind us here, this open thread stuff? What is that all about?
Yeah, so Thread is an open IP-based mesh networking protocol for low-power connected IoT devices. OpenThread is an open source implementation of that protocol, and it's available on GitHub. It's an open development model. Everybody can contribute, anybody in the public, not just Nest. And so what we're showing here is a bunch of devices, 10 different platforms, running OpenThread, operating in a single IPv6 mesh network, all communicating together, right? We have a Raspberry Pi in the corner that connects this to a Wi-Fi network and communicates via the cloud. All of these devices are communicating their topology information within that mesh to the cloud, and we display that on this display here, so you can see a full connected mesh network with devices here. What we're showing here is a thread sniffer. So this is a standard Wireshark. It's capturing all the traffic operating in this mesh network that is used to maintain this topology.
Cool. So if I were a developer that were looking to make a device that worked in a smart home, I could basically take any of these microprocessors here and use OpenThread as my way to make sure that my device hooks up with everything else in the home.
That's exactly right. As I mentioned, OpenThread now supports 10 different radios. And in fact, many of the silicon vendors actually provide direct customer support of OpenThread on their radios. So I would encourage you, if you're already working with a favorite silicon vendor of yours, to reach out directly to that silicon vendor and ask about OpenThread.
And what are some of the cool features about OpenThread? What makes it sort of an interesting networking protocol?
The first is that it supports IP, and which means it's the same technology that is used to connect any other internet-connected device. And that makes it really convenient. For example, when you're developing using standard Linux, you can use standard sockets APIs to communicate with your devices. But more importantly, because you're using IP, it means you can build solutions that utilize multiple link technologies, such as Wi-Fi, cellular, and Thread, with a single application layer communicating end-to-end. You do not have to have application gateways in between, which often represent a single point of failure. And with Thread, because there's no stateful application gateways, you can have multiple connections into and out of the network that makes it really resilient and have no single point of failure.
That is very cool. And I noticed there's this QR code here behind me. What does that do?
Yeah, so Thread by default requires you to have security enabled, which is actually one of the key differentiators. And because security is always enabled, you need to have a very user-friendly process of getting that device securely onto the network. And so what the QR code does is it enables a mobile app. So you just turn it on, you scan the QR code, and it'll securely connect with that joining device to provide the security credentials to get that device onto the network.
I think I've used that when I've set up my own Nest devices. It makes things super convenient.
Exactly. It's very similar to what we do in Nest. In fact, the commissioning protocol was designed following the principles that we use at Nest, so it really does enable a great user experience.
Very nice. And so what is Nest doing with OpenThread?
Yeah, so if we move over here, Nest is actually enabling a number of products with OpenThread. The first is a connected deadbolt for your door. It only communicates via Thread. It's got no other connectivity technology with it. And because it's using Thread, it can actually last for years on AA batteries. And I can do a quick demo here. So if I open up my mobile app, hold down the button, we'll see the door unlock, and there it goes. And that's all happening over Thread. Of course, the mobile is communicating over Wi-Fi. It goes to a Thread border router to this battery-powered device.
Would that work if my phone were not connected to the Wi-Fi?
It would work. So, yeah. So as I mentioned, our application layer operates over any IPv6 network. So it just happens that this mobile phone is only on Wi-Fi, but if it was connected to cellular, that would work as well.
Very cool. That is very interesting. And if I were a developer and I were interested in finding out more about OpenThread to use in my products, where would I go?
Yeah, so we have a website at openthread.io. We have our source code at github.com/openthread. And you can reach us at Google Groups at openthread-users.
All right, so if you're interested in making your own cool internet-connected device that, I don't know, does something amazing that I haven't thought of yet, go ahead on over to openthread.io and check it out for yourself. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
Bye, y'all.